Hello, I'm Malcolm Haslett.
I'm Janice Baker. How do parents and children get on working together?
Well, we'll find out with casting agent, mother and daughter, Angela and Louise Heesom, next on Our Time. Janice, would you work with your daughter?
No, but I have my son's work for my husband.
I know.
I know.
Keep it in the family, pay them a pittance, I say.
No, don't think that happens. But no.
Well, we'll find out if this happens in this family. It's a great welcome to Our Time to mother and daughter, Angela and Louise Heesom. Work out which one's which.
Not telling.
Not telling. Excellent, Louise. Hey, it's great to have you on the show. Do you know it's 5 years since you were here?
Wow.
I checked. Only seems like yesterday,
It does seem like yesterday, doesn't it?
Time flies.
Exactly. So, Angela, just let's start with you because you came before the egg. What and how did you become a casting agent?
Gosh, that's a long time ago now, isn't it? I think I used to be a producer years ago, like in the late 80s. I was producing films and commercials. And at one point, a group of actors came to me and said, "We'd love you to be our agent." And that's when I first got started. And I started a business called Actors Inc., which, Malcolm, you'd know quite well. You both would know.
Oh, because Rich has been on the show, yes.
That's right.
A couple of times.
Yeah, so I
But
started,
talking about ice skating more than anything.
well, he was an ice skater in those days.
Exactly, still is.
But
He's a
he
coach
still is
now.
an ice skater, yeah. But so it was 1994, I think, when I started becoming an agent. And at that point, I knew nothing about actors at all, really.
But you've always been attracted to actors.
I have.
Oh, tell me more. What's this?
It's fascinated
I'll
me.
fill you in the commercial break.
The leading men, of course. But even when I was a small child growing up in Liverpool, I look back at photographs that my parents kept of me, and there was me sitting in the back streets of some impoverished suburb somewhere, and I'd be always in the middle with my cast.
Okay.
I turned my father's back shed into a theatre with, made curtains, or I'm sure they made them for me.
Yeah.
And I had all the backstreet kids doing shows, which parents probably, with great laboriously watched, probably terribly written, terribly performed pieces.
No, but isn't that interesting? Because this is the backstory of so many people
Yeah.
in show business. They
Yeah.
started either organising the shows or doing the shows, or both.
That's right. So little did I know, though, that this was my thing I was going to be attracted to later, for my middle and later years.
But not performing as such.
Not performing. Although if I had my time again now, I would perform, I'm sure.
As what?
Yeah.
What would you perform?
I'd be an actor. I'd be a famous actor somewhere. But now I just watch them and teach them and help them. Yeah.
But unlike the way movies are sold, everybody thinks it's all about the stars of the film, but really that's not the process, is it? Really, actors sort of come in last, or the stars might come in first, but most of the actors really happen after everything else is planned.
After all the packages put together. Yeah, I mean, for most successful films, the bigger ones certainly, it is the cast come first up, those leading actors that have got names
The
that
stars,
will then bring some money to the production. And once we get them signed up, and that could take 2, 3, 4 years to do that. So that's half of the casting already that's done silently behind, closed doors.
Before anybody
in a way.
knows it's going
no
to
one
happen.
knows. It's just us, the director and producer, all working furiously to try and attract someone that might release the funding. But then once that money's there, then the real active casting starts, where we do look at all the other roles, all the support roles. And
so you're looking for people who look like a description, or you're looking for people who jump off the page and you think, oh, so-and-so would be good for that. Is that how it works?
Well, we do. We know a lot of actors, don't we? We know a lot of actors in South Australia, throughout Australia, and obviously our job is to know some of the key actors all over the world.
Yes.
Yeah. So our job is when we're brought on to do a project, we sit down with the director and producer and we read the script and we have these sorts of discussions about what actors they see in the roles. And not necessarily just the stars certainly, but all the support actors and how they see the characters. And we really never really know. It's organic, it just grows. And then once you cast one role, it informs another role. And so you collect these pieces together.
Because it's difficult for actors who all think they should be in everything.
Of course,
because they're not looking at themselves in that way. But Louise, when did you start becoming involved?
From a very early age, when my mother, My whole childhood wasn't a real childhood. I was carted around the supermarkets and Mum would entertain me with a roll-up in the shopping cart and run after a great face. So my whole life I've always known this industry. My dad was also a director initially. Mum actually was a producer before she was a casting director and agent. And so it's kind of the only world I've known. But, you know, I always say I got the job through bloodline, not through skill. And I begged Mum for a job after travelling for 5, 6 years.
She was very poor. Yeah.
No money. I was like, Mum, please help me.
Give me a job.
I'm poor, just like every actor.
That was a good way to see the world, though, to open up your eyes to what you're looking for.
Wonderful. And it actually made me really appreciate what home was, you know, the career I could have. And also through working with Mum, it was a wonderful opportunity to see her not just as the mother, but as an incredible businesswoman, which I'd never had the opportunity to see through that prism.
That's a relevant point, actually. And really, that's why I wanted to get both of you on the program, because all the different things, we recently had Joni Coombe and her dad Peter Coombe on the program. And it was lovely to talk to a father and daughter, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. Fantastic.
Because stuff came out about their past and why they did what they did and how Peter used his family in a lot of his clips and things, but wouldn't have if they couldn't have come up with the goods. So
yes.
What triggered you to think she would have the goods?
Well, I've been...
She's still asking herself that question.
No, she's right. She came back very poor, so I said, yes, I'll give you a job. Look, I was running a very big business. My business has sort of gone high, gone low, downsized. When Louise came back, it was a very big business. Now, this is a child that I've devoted my spare hours to. I call myself the hobby mother, don't I?
No,
But no, it's just
She's
kind
wonderful.
of, it has been me and her ever, all our lives, hasn't it? And so at the age of 20, this beautiful child walked out of my life and didn't go and get a flat the other side of town. She actually went to London for 5 years and just disappeared off the planet, as they do.
Yes.
So it was a lonely 5 years for me, and obviously my business kept me company. My business has been, in some ways, my relationship in life. And so when Louise came back, it was a big business, and she said she was desperate, but I thought she really did want to work with me. I just sensed that. And I was really quite thrilled that, I got her back after 5 years of total absence, but I got her back on a kind of full-time basis, because by then she'd met a partner who you've now married, and so she wasn't moving back home. So it was kind of lucky me that I got her back into the business. And very quickly, I must say, she actually really started to impress me. And that's not because she's my daughter. She's incredibly talented. And
I've paid her a lot of money to say all this.
And a lot of people tell me that. So, I accept that. And she's now, actually, I feel like I'm working for her rather than she's working for me.
Angela, do you share the job then, or do you actually have different things that you do?
Well, it's a bit of both, isn't it?
It's a lot of cross-pollination. We'll work on both projects jointly. Obviously, in my earlier years, I remember first working for Mum, I was so afraid to answer the phone because it's not a regular employer, it's your mother. So the opinion actually matters quite a lot. So it was a lot of hand-holding for the first couple of years. I remember when she shoved me in a room with actors to do a commercial audition. I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing.
Yes,
you can't. There's no training for this. You need to do this, Mother.
That's very relevant. There is no training for it. It's a gut thing, isn't it?
It is. But eventually, slowly, she started to handball me jobs and it's given me a couple of films and TV series to cast in my own right now. So I'm very grateful.
I can't keep it out of the studio now. I come in and say, we've had enough, Mum, thank you. She closes the door on me.
Go do the business, Mum.
We've now got the reverse in a wonderful way.
But it's a great way to meet people and influence friends, I suppose, isn't it, when you think about it? Because you're constantly meeting faces.
You constantly are. I'm quite a shy person by nature. It's only when I'm working with actors in an audition room that I get quite comfortable and confident. So in social worlds, I'm very much the opposite. But I do remember as a kid having so many dinner parties at Mum's house with directors and producers and actors and singers all coming around. And both my uncles worked in music or dance, so it was always a colourful affair. I learnt so much about humanity, just from those really young years of having Mum's industry friends around. Yeah, it was really wonderful. So I've had a very gifted life.
So where do you think it's going to take you?
Who knows? And that's the adventure, isn't it? you hope for the best and welcome any project that comes your way. I get to work with actors every day of the week, which is a Peter Pan-like existence. I don't know how lucky I got. It's incredibly hard work at the same time and very emotionally exhausting because you just want to constantly improve, find the best person, you know, extract this talent, show this director this. So it's a mixture of creative mindset with a real type of business acumen. You have to balance them both.
Yes, it wouldn't be a 9 to 5 job, would it? It must be a 7-day week.
No.
And
It is.
You've got to
very
have your
much
eyes
so.
open all the time.
Well, you always do.
Yeah.
And also, like we're running at the moment with Upright, the TV series, with the Tim Minchin TV series, and now we're going to night shoots. So it's like, as if the days weren't enough. So, you know, you've got, as you would know, you guys, I mean, it's like a 14-hour, you're on for 14, 15, sometimes 16 hours a day. And now we're moving into nights, so we'll be doing that for nights. We were casting a series called Deadline Gallipoli that aired a couple of years ago. And Louise actually moved in with me for that because it was such a massive project.
Well, hang on, hold that thought. We've just got to take a break. We'll find about that massive project in just a moment. Welcome back. We're here with Angela and Louise Heesom. We're just about to hear a bit of a story about...
Well, you were asking about the hours we work. So on Deadline Gallipoli, the film with Sam Worthington, etc., we actually moved in together because the hours
With
were
Sam?
just... With Sam. Well, not Sam, no. Good question, if only.
It was hard
She has a habit of this with actors, with leading men.
They always say no. I always ask them what their father looks like then because not Sam. So Louise and I actually moved in together. Louise moved into my place because of the hours we worked. So we were working all day and all night, and we had another person back at our base also working those hours, and we were just all sort of passing the baton. But I often wondered what the neighbours used to think because, you know, her and I would leave home at 3 o'clock in the morning, you know, and go out. We'd come back at 11 o'clock that evening, night after night after night. I often thought, what does he think we do for a living, you know? And sometimes I'd come back at 6 and she'd go out. And it's an odd sort of life, isn't it? But on Deadline, for example, besides casting all the many support roles in that movie, we also got charged with casting all the extras. So Turk extras and all the British forces. So it was an amazing job to do.
It's huge.
It was about 3,000, wasn't it?
2,000.
Sorry, only 2,000.
You never exaggerate.
No, we don't.
My mother? No, of course not.
But even finding the extras, we don't take the easy route, and that's probably why we've still maintained, fortunately, our profile that we do enjoy at the moment, because the director said to me, Michael Reimer, he said, look, with the extras, I don't want fat, podgy extras that look like they've just eaten a hamburger. I want really skinny guys that look like they've just, you know, they're first generation Australians from England. They're pale, they're historical looking, and they're really skinny and malnourished, and they don't have pecs, they don't go to the gym. And so that was our job. We were charged with finding a couple of thousand men, mostly
not so
between
easy.
18 to 23.
16 to 23.
16 to 23. That's right.
Handy to have a backup.
Yeah.
No, but
That's right.
So you wouldn't have people like that on your books, I
No.
suppose. So what do you do then? Do you actually go into the street and sort of
Yes.
look at people and go,
Hustle.
oh, there's one?
Yeah, it's a combination of things. A
Is
lot of
it?
parents think we're stealing their kids.
And we call
Quite often.
ourselves street workers, of course, because that's what we do.
Yeah.
But we actually do run up, so this is what we do, run up and down, chasing people and asking them
Do they believe you?
Well, I think we get away with it, don't we?
Yeah, I think because we're women, I think it's
You
different.
don't have a medal
Yes.
or a little thing you flip over and say, this is...
Oh, I'd love that. I would love that. Can that be my Christmas present?
Yes, that's what you need, a little identification
It's a
thing.
good idea.
Flip
You've got to do a lot of fast talking, and because you've got to capture their trust within the first 10 seconds.
Sure.
Because they think you're trying to sell them something.
Yes.
Well, Angela,
So-
we should talk about that because this is a very valid point. There are some companies that travel the world conning people into these so-called audition states, approaching them either through the radio or going up to people on the street and cold selling the fact that they could have the experience of being a Hollywood movie star.
Right.
How do you cope with that sort of stuff?
It's really hard as an industry. We have to guard against it and be a voice about it whenever we hear about that sort of stuff. I know, a few years ago, all the agents here got together and we actually we went to air with it. It was of great concern on the current affair.
Well, it's just happened again.
It has
just
happened
recently
again.
happened again. I think that the hard thing is explaining to people it doesn't work this way.
No.
When they think they've got a chance of becoming a TV or a film movie star and have the red carpet treatment, and you pay this amount of money to go to either to Sydney or to Hollywood, and parents are prepared to fork out money to buy a place in this experience. The reality is you can't do that.
No.
You know, what we're talking about now is exactly how it happens rather than how people maybe think it happens.
Exactly, and really good advice for parents, because we all love our children, and it's preying on that sort of innocence of parents. I've seen it too. For example, 3 actors that we're currently working with are young stars now. They're teenage stars that we found in schools at 11 and 12, and now they're doing major stuff opposite the Rachel Griffiths of the world. They're doing major work. Now, they paid nothing to be found. They paid nothing for an audition.
Actually, that's the best thing you could. That's the best way you could put that.
Yeah, that's right. So
it's frustrating to us in the industry because you feel we treasure what we do. We all treasure what we do. And we know that it doesn't come out of the air like that. It's not that you're going to walk up a red carpet and you're going to be discovered by some agents who nobody's ever heard of, you know.
That's
and
right.
that's the con.
We have now started the Casting Guild of Australia. I'm on their board, and this is a new thing that we've done in this country. It's been going for 3 years, and we're now the industry watchdog for all sorts of stuff like that. So we should talk after the program if you've got a lead for me of someone else that's doing it, because we want to get hot onto them.
Yeah, it's a real problem. I don't know if you've heard of these sort of things happening, but obviously we do because we're in the business, you know, and that happens.
And it gives the industry a very bad name. It gives all a bad name. Yeah.
But it gives our whole profession, particularly that of actors, it makes it seem as if, just because today I feel like I'd like to go out and schmacked. That's my word for non-actors, schmackers. Well, it's true, you know. It's people spend their whole lives learning this craft. It never stops.
That's right.
So, where do you feel? Do you want to continue the casting business? Do you think?
It's the only thing I'm good at. I don't know what else I would do. I don't know another existence. I get such a rush and a joy from it. The great thing is you never stop learning in this business. Every single project presents its own uniquenesses and problems, but you're constantly finding that as you evolve through the work, you're evolving as a human being as well. So I can't imagine me doing anything else with my life. I don't know. I don't know what I'd do.
Here's the big question: if you had children,
right,
or when you have children,
right,
what will their job become?
Absolutely, they're not allowed in the industry whatsoever. Whatsoever. No, they're going to be a doctor or a lawyer or an astronaut, something. An auditor. An auditor, something far more sensible.
But then you're underrating your own ability. Then.
I think if the career comes to them, but I think absolutely, and I would love to share the same experience that I have with my mum and be able to share that if and when.
But
I
you know,
do
these things, everybody is unique in what they're capable of doing, and if you're drawn towards something like this, then it is what you should be doing. It's what you try and explain to actors, surely, that, you know, if you can't do anything else.
But even to anybody, you say, you know, you find something that you love.
Be a bank manager.
Yeah, to be passionate about it, and then you obviously enjoy it more. So.
That's a real blessing, isn't it, to have a job that you really enjoy?
Absolutely. And you're lucky too, because you're actually working at the South Australian Film Corporation building here, which is this amazing old asylum.
Well, it's a lunatic asylum, isn't it?
It's a good asylum for you to be in, isn't it?
And we're working at the old hospital, and we're working with, you know, the industry's best. I mean, producers, writers, they're all there.
You're surrounded. You're surrounded.
We are, so we're very blessed.
And the studios there are just behind that building, and they're massive, aren't they?
They're state of the art. Absolutely.
That's why our industry has just exploded. I mean, we've never had an industry in South Australia, really.
It sort of began and then sort of fizzled. Because unlike, well, the other states have beautiful cities too. You have lovely cities. Perth's very pretty. Melbourne's fabulous because there's a lot happening in Melbourne. But here in South Australia, we sort of almost were the Hollywood of Australia back in Don Dunstan's era.
Yeah.
Right.
And then because it was all based on government funding, it's sort of all just fragmented. But now it's come back in a way with a vengeance, hasn't it?
Well, it has. I think now for the first time we can be taken serious as an industry because we now have 2 state-of-the-art sound studios at a great cost to the taxpayer, of course. Hopefully it's being returned. But before that we were down at Hendon in studios that you could hear the planes flying over. So you couldn't
Because
possibly...
they used to make, was it Kelvinator or something, fridges or something?
Philip, was it Phillips?
Phillips, I think it was the Phillips factory.
But we couldn't, it wasn't sound studios.
No.
So
They're just
we were
big
we were the
warehouses.
laughing stock
Yeah,
of the Australian
absolutely.
film industry,
Yeah.
really.
And
So-
yet some great films came out of that.
Absolutely.
So name drop a few movies that you've worked on.
Oh, they've been huge ones, haven't they? I mean,
Yeah.
where do we begin? Wolf Creek 1, Wolf Creek 2, Wolf
Were you
Creek the
scared?
TV series.
Were you scared?
No, no, I just saw the makeup, just the makeup artist and the sound recorders like here,
Yes.
just off screen. No, I wasn't
Yes.
scared about that. But Storm Boy was our most recent
The
one.
new Storm Boy, yeah.
Look Both Ways.
Look Both Ways, which took out 7 AFI awards. Well, we've cast
Over 40 films, so it's hard to...
yeah, over 50.
50.
So many of them, isn't there? The flip side was our most recent with
Eddie Izzard.
And who else?
Oh, we've had Anzac Girls, Deadline Gallipoli, Sam Fox, Danger 5, Series 1 and 2.
Beautiful Kate
Kate, which is
Brian
I
another-
remember
Brown.
when you were looking for people for the Anzac Girls, the fact that they were shooting, you know, at the crack of dawn in the middle of winter,
Yes.
down on the beach, and everyone was falling apart with the cold. And
It's treacherous.
It
I mean,
is,
we felt like
isn't it?
we've been in the trenches. The same as Deadline Gallipoli, the same thing, shooting down at
Yep.
Maslin's Beach in the winter,
Yep.
4 o'clock calls and it's pouring with rain.
Yep.
I mean, where is the glamour in that?
Where's the glamour? Quite right. Well, it could be in our next break, so we'll be back in a tick. I'm ready for my close-up, Mr. DeMilne. Is that the line?
Oh, you're always ready for a close.
No, I keep saying not too
No,
close,
not
there's
too.
too many wrinkles now. So when you're looking for people, there's several different processes that you go through. Just explain, how do you find all these faces?
Apart
That
from
is
walking
such
the
a big
street.
question.
Yes,
Depends on what we're looking for.
Street
I mean,
walking.
sometimes
Yeah.
we've got to find very unusual things, like hairy back a couple of weeks ago, for
Oh,
example.
nice.
Yes.
And
Toothless women.
Phil,
Women with no
you got a
teeth.
hairy back, haven't
No.
you? We got someone over there with a hairy
Yeah.
back.
And some people come forward with that and actually
Yeah,
admit that they
absolutely. I mean, social media has been the greatest gift in some of those
those odd
cases
things.
because walking up to someone and saying, "Do you have fake teeth? And can you take them out? And can I have a look at your gums?" is a slightly awkward conversation starter.
That is awkward, yes.
But
is.
you know, that's where casting takes you, into the most random places. in
Would
search
that
of
be
that
for a
face.
commercial or that was for a film?
No, that was for a TV.
Upright.
No, Wanted.
was that Wanted?
with Rebecca
TV
Gibney.
series
Okay.
Wanted, which was this year too. Yes, was that Wanted? Was it?
Yes,
That's right.
on air
So-
tonight, Channel 7.
But sometimes, like, you know, women with no teeth. I mean, once you know you've got to find women with no teeth, you are quite switched on to
You're
it.
hired.
And so I know I was coming home from work one night and I went to Foodland Shopping Centre and I was just getting my Benny Hill type of shopping that you do, running around. And it was about 8 o'clock at night and I was just going for some oranges and a woman opposite me was going for the oranges too, and we smiled and she smiled and there was this great big gummy smile with no teeth, and I thought, thank you, Lord. I thought, I've only got a week to find them, when there she's right in front of me. It's a gift.
Lovely.
And I said to her, you just got the most beautiful face. But I said it quite generally because I really felt that for me that was beautiful, that
Yeah,
face.
yeah.
And it was beautiful because I was looking for someone that looked like her. And she smiled and I said, I'm looking for someone that looks like you for a movie. And it took her a little bit to sort of really take that on board. But within 10 minutes I had her at my house and I pulled out my, my spare camera
And
and
explain, yeah.
I'm screen testing her.
So that's how it happens.
And that's how it happens for those sorts of roles.
Yeah, it's amazing, really, and it's so great to be able to talk to both
Yeah.
of you. We sadly have to go, but I'd like to keep this conversation going. But these two lovely ladies, mother, daughter, working together, loving every minute of it, as we hope you have watching the program.
Yes.
And we'll see you soon, so keep yourself nice till then.
Take care.
Thanks, girls.
Thank you. Thanks, Mum.
It's been fun, thank you.